you came back, they wanted you to be a helicopter pilot, and you said, I don't think so. I was a duck. I used to shoot ducks. I don't want to be another duck, or I don't want to be a duck.
That's right. And I got married, worked on a flight line in Olathe, Kansas as a line chief. That was a jet squadron. Went back to Augustana and Sioux Falls College and graduated. And then I went into banking, but I joined the National Guard because I really missed the service. And I stayed in the Guard for 28 more years.
How long were you in the Marines then?
6.
6 years in the Marines, came back, went to college, and then into the National Guard. And you worked down at the Veterans Administration in Hot Springs as well.
Yeah, I ran the State Veterans Home. That was my last job. And I loved it. It was all soldiers, and I knew how to talk to soldiers.
So yeah, you're a military guy from the get-go, are you not?
Yeah. Well, you know, the initial question usually is, how many times were you shot down? And everybody says 3.
Okay.
Because after 3, you didn't have to fly anymore if you could elect not to fly. Well, I never got to that point. I had one crash where it was the pilot's fault. And then I had one just before I left country where the helicopter rolled down a hill, but I was in 2 of them where it just shot right out of the air. I mean, they just come clunk, and thank goodness we weren't very high.
But you had a lot of bullet holes in those helicopters too after coming back from mission.
Yeah, and the first thing you did is look for structural weakness in the helicopter, because if you tear up the metal, it takes the whole bird to stay apart. And helicopters try to shake themselves apart in the air. I mean, they just seem like that's like the bumblebee. They shouldn't fly.
How were you treated when you came back from Vietnam?
We were told we could wear our uniform, and we flew into El Toro. And of course, the NCOs come out and say, "Hey, really glad to see you home, and thank you," you know. But we had protesters at the gate. Wearing your uniform home was an elective. I elected to do it because you just get a little bit surly, and you think if there's going to be a fight, I'm going to be in it. Yeah, so I wore my uniform home.
Very proudly.
Proudly. And my mom was waiting there to see me, so that was the best part. That was the best part. The food was terrible in Vietnam, just terrible. The Navy had good food. The Air Force.
But you were in the Marines. You were awfully close to the Navy.
Yeah, we
were.
were.
You were part of the Navy.
Well, they took us over on an aircraft carrier, kicked us off, and never come back. And they flew us home. But I don't know, boy, Marine cooks, I can't say enough about. They always put something hot on the table. It was just barely edible. The worst experience I had in the mess hall was one day, it was Wink's Produce. And I knew that my cousins sold eggs to Wink's Produce in Madison, South Dakota. And then they had Spam, but it was made at Morrell's in Sioux Falls. My dad worked there. I was so homesick, I turned green. You know, but the food, we never had milk, for example. They made it like calf mama. It was a milk mixture. But when the Army come up and took over, and we went north then, up to Phu-Bai, and they had milk. I mean, we couldn't believe they had milk. You know, the bread, you'd eat the bread, and it was always raisin bread. The ants would crawl in, and then their body
and they would say that was a raisins.
It looked like raisins, yeah. So you could tell the new guys, they were always trying to pick out the chunks, you know. So it was interesting, but it was early in the war that I went there. I went there in '66 and didn't come home till end of '67.
So you were in there during
right before the Tet Offensive.
Right before the Tet Offensive, and during one of the heated times of Vietnam as well.
We flew into Laos a lot. We flew into Khe Sanh all the time, and that's where the big fight was. And you just knew when you come down that runway, people are going to be shooting at you.
But you knew it was your job. This is what I'm over here for. This is what I was trained for. So
that's exactly
we just do it.
That's right. I was going to say, you know, you never questioned the authority. You just did your job. Some did it better than others. And in my Guard unit, I had a Medal of Honor recipient. Mike Fitzmaurice, and we named the State Veterans Hospital after him.
Oh, is that right?
He lives in Sioux Falls. He's a wonderful man, just a wonderful soldier. Those were the kind of people that at the State Veterans Home you got to know. You know, guys like one fellow said he was a prisoner of war. Navy put him on a ship, and they didn't let him off till the end of the war. I said, that doesn't qualify you as being a prisoner of war, you know. But it's stuff like that. He had a sense of humor, and we could laugh about it. But at the time, when he was in Okinawa and the kamikazes were coming over, there probably wasn't very much laughter.
There's just this strong friendship, camaraderie among the veterans all across the nation, but in particular here in the Black Hills as well.
You know, it is. It's a tight knit organization, and it's a good organization. I belong to all the service organizations, and when you belong to them, your vote counts. Congressmen are interested in numbers. So the more members you have, the better off you are in Washington for benefits. And I've been there too, lobbied, for vets. But the state here treated us royally. We had a big homecoming for Vietnam veterans. The only governor who did that at that time. So it's amazing. It's South Dakota's home.
And the VA here throughout the Black Hills area, outstanding.
It is. The care is wonderful.
The care is great, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's truly a small enough organization so that there's immediate reaction if there's any problems or any praise to be given.
Well, Loren, it's all we can say is thank you so much for your service, and that's not enough.
And thank you for yours.
You bet. Thank you.